Hello, Algebra 2 students. Today we are going to finish Chapter 4 by doing 4.10 notes called Writing Quadratic Functions and Models. We are going to write a quadratic function in three forms. We're going to use the vertex form, the intercept form, and actually just two forms. So we'll do the vertex form and the intercept form. Let's get started. On the right, you see a graph of a quadratic, so a parabola, and we are going to write an equation of that graph in vertex form. So the first thing we need to do is write the correct equation. So y equals a times x minus h squared. Don't forget the squared because that tells you it's a quadratic, plus k. That's the equation for vertex form. Then what we're going to do is figure out what a is so that we can write our equation. So that's the main goal. Once we know what a is, we can do everything else because we know the vertex. The vertex is 1, -2, and we know a point is 3, 2. So let's write down the information that we have from our graph. So our vertex is 1, -2, and our point, our ordered pair, is 3, 2. So remember, 3 is your x-coordinate, 2 is your y-coordinate, and for this particular one, h, k. And we have everything we need other than a, so we are going to replace all the correct values in the right spot. So I'm going to write the vertex form again. You don't want to write too big here. So y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Replace y with 2. Replace a with nothing because we don't know what it is. Replace x with 3. Minus from your formula, you're going to replace h with 1 squared plus k, and k is -2. We're just going to solve for a. So we're going to simplify all the right side. So we're going to do 3 minus 1 first, which is 2. Then we'll square it, obviously. We don't need to put the plus sign in there, so let's put -2. So that's 2 equals 2 squared is 4, so you have 4a minus 2. Add 2 to both sides. 4 equals 4a. Divide both sides by 4. So a equals 1. Once you know what a is, you just plug back in a, h, and k. So now that you know what a is, here's the final step. Plug in a, h, and k. You never plug in x and y because your equation should have x and y as your variables. So plugging back into our vertex form, we are going to replace a with 1. So you can either put a 1 there or not, because a lot of people don't like the 1 in front, and I'm one of those, so I just don't even put it in there. But we will. X minus h was 1 squared, and k was a -2. And that is your equation in vertex form of that quadratic shown on the graph. That wasn't too bad. The next one, we're going to write a quadratic function in intercept form. So the key word being intercepts, and the intercepts we're interested in are the x-intercepts, and those are plotted on the graph, and then there's a point 3, 2 as well. So writing our equation for intercept form, it's y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. And so our x-intercepts from our graph are -1, 0 and 4, 0. Our point is 3, 2. And again, we have everything we need, and we just have to plug it into our equation. So our equation is y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. We're going to replace y with a +2, a with nothing, x with 3, let's put our minus signs in here from our formula. There we go. And we're going to replace P. It doesn't matter which one you call P, which one you call Q. So I'm going to replace my first P, my P with -1. And here we have X again. And I'm going to replace Q with a +4. So that's 2 equals A times 3 plus 1 times 3 minus 4. That's 2 equals A times 3 plus 1, which is 4, times 3 minus 1, which is -1. 2 equals 4 times -1 is -4 times A. Divide both sides by -4. A equals -1/2. Once you know what A is, plug it back in. So plug in A, P, and Q. So Y equals -1/2 times X minus a -1, and X minus Q was 4. So Y equals -1/2. Clean it up. You can't leave a minus and a minus, two double negatives. And that is your answer in intercept form. Right. The graph on the right represents the height of a water balloon being catapulted in respect to time. What is the equation for this graph? Describe the meaning of the key points of this graph in real-world terms. So in real-world terms, these are your x-intercepts. This is your vertex approximately. So we're going to draw a line as straight as I can anyway. And that basically is right here. If you draw a horizontal line, that would be 70 right there. So your vertex is 10, 70. So that would be H, and that would be K. And there are your intercepts. And your Y, this point right here is 0, 20. So X, Y, and your x-intercept is where the water balloon will land just before 22 seconds. It's actually right, it's not right at 22. We can write this equation in vertex form. If we know the vertex, it's always best to use vertex form. So, and then the example 2, we didn't know the vertex. We would have had to estimate. So here, the vertex form is Y equals A times X minus H squared plus K. So we know some of the points. We've labeled them. So 20 is Y equals, we don't know A. We know X is 0. Minus, we know H is 10. Oops. Squared plus K. Now simplify the entire right side. Start in your parentheses. So -10 squared plus 70. 20 equals, negative times a negative is a positive. Subtract 70. And last step, divide both sides by 100. Notice you don't divide by -50. So that's -1/2 equals A. Once you know what A is, plug in A, H, and K. So Y equals -1/2 times X minus 10 squared plus 70. And there you have it. Let's write down what the vertex means in this situation. The vertex at 10 seconds, so if you look on your horizontal axis where I drew that line, at 10 seconds, the water balloon will be at its highest point of 70 feet. So those are the meanings of the x-intercept and the vertex. All right, let's do 2 more examples of the same kind just to make sure that we know how to do it. So write a quadratic function whose graph has the given characteristics. You are given the vertex, you're given a point, so you want to use vertex form. Just an additional example. H, K, X, Y. Replace Y with -1, A with nothing, X with 4. Put the minus sign in from your formula first. Now replace H with 4. Oops, I meant to put 2 here. Okay, because X was 2. H is 4. Square it plus K. Okay, so that's -1 equals A times -2 squared minus 5. -1 equals positive 4A minus 5. Add 5, add 5. 4 equals 4A. Divide by 4. A equals 1. Now replace it. Plug in A, H, K. Just look at your formula for the vertex form. The only things you plug in are your A, H, and K. So Y equals 1. This time I'll just leave the 1 out. Times X minus H, which is 4. Square it. Plus K, which is -5. Done. Doesn't even take very long. And the last one. This one you're going to use the intercept form because the key words being x-intercepts. So those are P and Q. So this is P, this is Q, or vice versa. This is XY. So here's our equation. Y equals A times X minus P times X minus Q. Replace Y with a positive 2 equals A with nothing, X with 6 minus the P with a -2. Square, or not squared, sorry, X again with 6 minus the Q is 5. So 2 equals A times 6 plus 2 times 6 minus 1, or 6 minus 5. 2 equals A times 8 times 1. 2 equals 8A. Divide by 8. Again, students sometimes divide by 2. That's 1/4 equals A. Plug in A, P, and Q. Y equals 1/4 times X. Remember, P was a -2, so this would be opposite. I'm just going to save the time instead of putting minus a -2. And X minus 5. And those are your notes for today. Have a great day, Algebra 2 students.